For your 10th grade science exam study guide, number 3 says define acceleration. The first part of it says what are the units. So you need to know that the units are meters per second squared. There's other ways to say it, meters per second. But when you see something that says meters per second squared, you need to automatically know that means acceleration. That's just common literacy that you need to not have to be told. So if you see something that says a bunch of stuff and then it says 45 meters per second squared, you need to realize that's an acceleration. You need to be able to calculate acceleration using the formula, which you can find in your textbook or online. In this formula, you need 3 pieces to find acceleration. You need the final velocity, the initial velocity, and the time of acceleration. So a sample problem might look like this, where you have a person going from 6 meters per second to 20 meters per second in 2 seconds. What's the acceleration? So once you know that you're looking for acceleration, you have to go, okay, I need the acceleration formula. And once you know you need the acceleration formula, you need to pick the final velocity, the initial velocity, and the time out of the question and put them into the formula in the right way, as shown here for this problem. So once you've done your setup for the formula, now you're ready to find the final answer. Notice you subtract first, then divide, and the unit should be proper on the end of it. For a multiple choice test, you won't have to worry about adding the unit on the end. It should be one of the choices, but you need to be able to choose the right unit. Here's a second problem where you're using the acceleration formula, but you're not finding acceleration. This person was traveling along, accelerated at negative 15 meters per second squared. In 1.5 seconds, she slowed to a stop, and you're asked to find the initial speed. So you use the acceleration formula for this, as shown. You choose the acceleration, the final velocity, and the time out of the question. And again, velocity and speed are being used interchangeably here. You put all the pieces in their place. Initial velocity doesn't have a number, so you leave it in the letters as letters. And you take it all the way to the end. And the last step is that the negative sign on either side of the equal sign is canceled out. The last thing your study guide says is that you need to know how to interpret graphs of distance versus time and speed versus time when acceleration is shown. So here's a distance versus time graph, and the acceleration shown here is in number 1, and that is an increasing speed. Number 2 does not show increasing speed, it shows increasing distance, and the distance is increasing in a constant way so that the acceleration is 0. There's no acceleration there, and it's a constant speed. The number 5 shown here, the 0 slope on this means that it's not even moving. There's no speed because the distance isn't changing. And then the last one for this video, we have this graph has velocity as the y-axis. So number 3 shows increasing speed. That means as it goes up, the speed's getting higher, therefore that means acceleration. Number 4, compared to number 5, number 4 has a constant speed, because on this graph, for it to stay horizontal like that with 0 slope means the speed is not changing, so that means no acceleration. That covers it for number 3 on your study guide.